Hey, Noah, it's Pastor Nate. Just a couple things that I want to bring to your attention as we continue to update you as to what is happening as we are affected by this virus. You know, a week or 2 weeks ago, this really wasn't even on our radar, this virus that has quite simply turned into a pandemic. And it is so easy during this time to kind of just be worried, to kind of almost freak out and wonder and doubt if God is the one who's in control. But as we look into his word and we see how God has revealed himself in his word, we see a God who's in control from the simplest of a virus, the smallest things like a virus, to the biggest events throughout history. And I was reminded about that even this week as I was spending time in God's word. And Jeremiah 23 verses 23 says this to 24. It says, "Am I a God at hand, declares the Lord, and not a God far away? Can a man hide himself in secret places so that I cannot see him, declares the Lord? Do I not fill heavens and earth, declares the Lord?" And what an amazing passage that is to describe who our God is. He's not a distant God. He's not a God who just lets things run crazy. He is active in our world. In this passage, he's talking about how he's addressing sin, but how much is that even true for us who are his children who are just worrying? He is in control of all things, and let us just rest upon who he is. As we continue to seek how to deal with this as a church, we are going to be continuing to worship. It may not be together, but we're going to be striving to stream it online via YouTube together. So this week, Pastor Matt's going to be preaching out of Zechariah 6, verses 9 to 15, and how that really points to Jesus as the true priest and the true king. So I'm really looking forward to hearing what God has to say through his word as Pastor Matt declares that on Sunday. So we're going to be streaming online via YouTube. We're going to have kids worksheets from our kids program for parents to continue to disciple their kids together. So you're going to be able to see that on our website as well. We're going to have sermon note sheets for more creative ways of taking sheets. You may have seen them gathered out around in the foyer, and they're just a great opportunity for us to break down our thought process as we listen to the service. We're also going to seek to have a pre-service prayer time via Google Meet. So if you have a smartphone or an iPad or a tablet of some kind, download that. But you're also going to be able to get to it via a link on a web browser, but also call in from a phone number as well. So these are things that we're seeking to do as we gather together online to worship our God. And as we do that, I do pray that you will continue to worship our God, not only as you watch this stream, but also in your giving. And we have the ability to be able to continue in that worship as we continue to give what God has given to us back to him in worship through offering and giving. So you can do that. You can continue to worship our God through giving online, which is also on our website as well. For our young people, Pastor Matt's going to be continuing to do some live streaming. Last week, I saw a bit of it. They were streaming on Instagram and just having that interaction together. And it's just a great way and creative way to try and keep us together, even though we are apart. But this coming week, they're going to continue to do a live stream, but they're going to try out YouTube and allow people to kind of gather together. Hey, if you've heard of any creative ways of how you can keep together as a family or even as a church family. I heard once earlier this week, I heard about a church who's starting something called the Isolation Olympics, and what a great way to get together as a family to kind of keep yourselves active and instead of just binge watching Netflix all day long, or in my case, Disney Plus. But think of creative ways and share them with one another. If you haven't, call up some of our seniors as well who don't have access to this technology. And if you're able to help keep them connected in some way, I really encourage you to do that. But just simply pick up the phone, call to one another, or FaceTime one another, or Google Hangout with one another, or something like that. We're continuing to pray for you as a church, as we continue to seek to glorify God during this crazy, crazy, crazy time. But also, this is an opportunity for people who are I just talked to someone this morning who was in our neighborhood, who is in desperate, just no hope. And what an opportunity it was to share the good news of Jesus Christ and how she too can have hope. But for us too, as the world seems to kind of just be freaking out, how great is that opportunity for us to share the love of Jesus Christ, that we have a firm foundation, that we have a sure hope, and what a great opportunity that God has allowed us to have as the church. But also remember, because we can't go to church doesn't mean that we're not continuing to be the church. So let us magnify our God. May we continue to be disciples who make disciples of Jesus Christ. I'm looking forward to connecting with you in different ways over this next coming week. And I look forward to hearing about how God is using you during this time. Continue to pray. May God be glorified.